Hey folks, JD here, and today we've got this little guy. This is the small Eachine H825. Looking forward to flying this because it's goggle time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this guy up. We're going to try her first without the goggles, just take her for a little bit of a flight, see how it goes. Then whack the goggles on, and then I'm going to take her for a flight again with the goggles on, see exactly how she does. I think she's going to be okay though. The camera quality isn't going to be great. It's 480p, so hopefully I can see okay out of it. I think it's going to be just passable. So with that, my friends, let's get it calibrated. Right then, let's get this up. So let's click and hold. Gyro starts to calibrate, flashing alters, single one up and one down to bind, then we should be good to go. Oh no, gyro down to the bottom right, lights start to flash, and that's it. Now this is going to be, in the case of full disclosure, this is going to be my fourth flight. I did one flight, purely FPV, so I've got highlights of that coming up in this particular video. And it was okay. The 480p camera doesn't really give you a lot as it suggests from the spec. You know, it's very blurry. If you look at any light, you just get complete washout glare. So I would be very careful if you were doing that. Another problem I've had with it is I've had the battery which hasn't charged properly, and I've used multiple cables, multiple ports, AC, non-AC, you know, and it still hasn't made a blind bit of difference. So I've changed this once again, and now it seems to be okay, but I can hear the OSD buzzer going, oh, it was me. I pushed a button prematurely, that's fine. So I would say if you are going to use this for FPV flying, then you need to be using the 720p version and not the 480 version, because you're just not going to see anything. You know, you're just not going to see anything at all. I mean, her flight seems good. Is she an FPV racer? No. Is she a beginner FPV racer? Well, she acts like it. She flies like it. She's got that sort of she moves in the same way as a slightly larger quad FPV racer would. She kind of wallows a little bit. You have to be careful on the turns to ensure that when she comes back around, she doesn't wobble. She hasn't got altitude hold, so if you are new to non-altitude hold quads, then I would recommend you fly these first without the barometer, just quite simply because you have to learn how to fly these properly, and it's actually, I prefer it. Turning, she's okay. She's okay. She doesn't wallow, but you need space for her. That's the big thing. If you don't have space, then you're going to come a cropper. Now, that orientation light at the front is just above the camera, ever so slightly. It's slightly at the same angle, and then a little bit up. I can see it quite brightly. The LEDs underneath, I can't see the two white ones in the front, but I can see the two red ones at the back. As per, if you've flown a Flytec before, you're going to know that they fly well, and this is no different. I mean, my angle on the transmitter is quite literally, you know, I'm not putting that much pressure on it. I'm only in speed mode 2. Speed mode 3, angle of attack alters. Her flip when she turns is a lot more, is a lot quicker in speed mode 3, same as it would be with any quad. But with this, because of where the motors are mounted and because of the type of quad that she is, you start to feel that you could quickly lose control if you turn too quickly. She'll just dart around. So what I would suggest with that is, if you are new, just stick it in speed mode 1, and then the angle of attack isn't as words. The angle of attack isn't as angular. I'm going to go with that. and you do get a nice, very nice straight flight from her. Learn how you do that, and I'm just using yaw for the time being, just a turner. Obviously then, once you have mastered the yaw, then what you can just do then is just quite quickly use yaw and roll for those beautiful little funnels and those beautiful little turns where she feels like she's on rails going around corners. Now as for battery life, as I say, I've had a few failed attempts at charging this. That's why the start of this video is different to different weather conditions to this part of the video, and the FPV video, well, that's a different video altogether. So yeah, it hasn't been the easiest quad to get in the air just because of the battery. The battery has often been just about 2.5 to 3 minutes, but now I feel that she's a little bit better with that. So as for 3D flips, I believe you can do them with this quad. I just got to remember the buttons, because it was a couple of weeks ago when I read the read the manual. But yeah, that's quite literally it. So just no, it is the right thumbstick, and you have 4 directional flipping. So you can do left, right, forwards and back. Forward seems to be a little bit strange. Seems to be a little bit delayed, seems to be a little bit, I don't know, heavier on the quad. Probably just because of the rotation of those propellers make it seem that way. Seems to be a little bit heavy when it comes back around. Seems to not be as nicely balanced, just seems to go bleh. So, yeah, I think this is a nice little quad, I do. I've got reservations as to whether it is a beginner FPV racer. I just think it's a good little flying quad from Flytec, honestly. I mean, I think it gets you used to looking through the FPV camera. It gets you used to, that's the battery by the way, it gets you used to using the quad in different ways, angling her in different ways, you know, making sure that you have got full control within the angle, and making sure that when you're flying her, you're the one controlling her, not vice versa. I think she's okay. I think she's all right. Yeah, she's a good flyer. That's the main thing. What's putting me off is just those 5 times to charge that battery. But we have had proper battery life this time. But I mean, she is so solid. And that's the battery. And she is so solid when she flies. And the best thing about it as well is when the battery does die, you have an onboard buzzer. So, there we are. So you can hear exactly where she is. It's not very loud. It's not very loud. It's louder when there's more battery, obviously. But maybe they should have run that off a separate battery. Tiny little one cell would have been fine and wouldn't have altered the balance that much of this quad. So yeah, I like it. It's a little bit different. The motors are side mounted. Everything about this is a little bit different. That camera though is a nightmare, as I'm sure you would have seen from the footage. It isn't great. So as a consequence, if you are going to be FPV flying, try the 720p camera. It's still going to be better, but at the same time, don't fly into, you know, anything which is bright. Try and keep it, because the sun is over to the left. If I had my goggles on now, I would be flying her here because the winter sun is so strong. But at the same time, even here when you turn her around, she's still going to be facing the sun. So yeah, just be very, very careful. Just that, because if you blind yourself, you're not going to know where the quad is, and because there's no altitude hold, you can't rely on that to hold while you take your goggles off. So, you know, just be careful. Flies well though. Battery life is okay, but obviously if you're using speed mode 3, it's going to chew up a lot quicker, and I was going straight through the speed modes. I was doing a little bit of going through the 360 flips as well, so, you know, I've been using it quite well. All in all, I think it is much better than the T18D. It hasn't got altitude hold, and that's one of my reasons for it being better. And I think it'll get you into flying a little bit quicker quads and looking through that FPV camera using your goggles, and that's the important bit. Right then folks, I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you ever so much for watching and listening. I've been JD, you've been fantastic as always. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Hello and welcome to all the new subscribers. I hope you're enjoying the channel. So until next time, my friends, happy flying.